I am so disappointed. This is not a true Tony and Ziva show. It's just a Tony show. Because we did not one single one, we did not get a single Ziva-ism. I'm so disappointed. This is the worst NCIS spinoff ever. I'm just kidding. But yeah, seriously though, we did not get a Ziva-ism in this whole show. Not one. I guess Ziva is just so used to America now that her Ziva-ism lingo is poof gone. But come on, those were the best parts too. Whenever Ziva was on the show, she would have her Ziva-isms. She would mess up American idioms, and it's so funny. That's why we have the Ziva-ism of the review. Oh my gosh. So, that's why we have the Ziva-ism of the review at the ending of these episode reviews. So, oh well. So this is the Season 1 finale of Week-2-Week episodes. How do you feel about this format? I kind of dig it. I just want to know. I have a few ideas for shows I want to do for my second season of Week-2-Week episodes. A few ideas down. I'm not entirely sure which one I want to do yet, but hey, we'll get to them when we get to them. It's whatever. So I saw the Tony and Ziva Season 1 finale. Now. Oh boy. Okay. A lot to discuss here. I'm gonna just start right away. I have like 3 pages of notes, so if I go like fast, that's why. So yeah, man, the compilation for this is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be like 6 or 7 hours long. If I can try to get a compilation up, I'm trying to do a compilation where you could watch all 8 of these videos in one video. Hopefully that works. If it did work, and if you are watching the compilation, yay. If it didn't work, oh, well, I tried doing that, so. I don't know, it's sort of a 50-50 chance that I can try and do it. But we'll see. But yeah, so, Tony and Ziva Season 1 finale. So, the episode starts off with Tony, Ziva, Claudette, Sophie, and Boris. All of them are trying to figure out everything. If you remember from the ending of the last episode, Sophie and Tali, they were trying to get out of the airport to, get out of there safely and successfully. Well, Sophie got out of there safely. Tali, however, got kidnapped by Jonah's men. So, they're all trying to discuss. And instantly, Ziva gets a FaceTime call with Jonah. And Jonah tells her, saying that he wants both Tony and Ziva to meet him at Graves' compound in the cave that leads to the server room without no one. Without Claudette, without Boris, without Sophie. More Sophie? Yeah, okay. I'm like, wait, I feel like there's more. No, that's it. There's so many characters, I'm trying to remember. So, he just wants Tony and Ziva arrive at the compound. And if there are anybody else on the team that does arrive, well, pow to Tali. So, she tells them that. Then Martine arrives on the island. And she arrives to tell Tony and Ziva that, that she bugged his phone after Graves was killed. And she wants to help Tony and Ziva rescue Tali. She reveals to Tony and Ziva everything that we've known about from, from a few episodes ago. That she's opened her eyes and whatnot. She also says that more than likely Tali is at the lighthouse that is next to Grace's compound. Sorry, I'm looking at the notes on this side of the screen while I'm doing my discussion. So she tells Tony and Ziva that more than likely Jonah put Tali in the lighthouse that's next to Grace's compound. And that she will help all of them find Tali. This gets everyone from the team confusion. Because Tony, Ziva, Claudette, Boris, and Sophie, all of them, they all think that Martine was really Jonah's ride or die. They're like, why the fuck are you wanting to help us find Tali? Then she told them what we'd known about. After Ziva cornered Martine in the public grocery store, or not grocery store, but grocery market outside, Martine has really opened her eyes on her loyalty to Jonah, which is, there is no fucking loyalty! So, and she doesn't want to work with the kind of monster that Jonah is, because Jonah is technically being the kind of monster that he wanted to destroy. So, there's that. So, and Ziva is willing to let Martine help them. She's willing to let Martine help the gang and save Tali. And she lets Sophie and Martine go to the lighthouse to get Tali. But she did say if Sophie thinks that Martine is playing her in anything, in any way, Sophie can and will take her out. Which Martine just said understandable. So, and Sophie, so while all this is going on, Sophie has even made a plan to be sure that Tali can be safe. Martine would find a way to call or bug Jonah's phone to sort of distract him. So that way Sophie can save Tali. While doing that, on Jonah's phone, there'll be sort of bloop, bloop, bloop sound. Whenever they hear that bloop, 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 that means that Tali is safe and that Sophie and Martine have successfully grabbed Tali without any harm or danger. So, there's that. So, Tony and Ziva go through the compound, through the backyard, which is filled with these weird telescope pole-like thingies. And they meet Jonah there. These telescope pole-like thingies, and these things do come back later on. But these sort of telescope pole thingamafucking-jiggers are pretty much what Jonah says, something that Aaron Graves would look at every day. If you remember, by the way, Aaron Graves was shot and killed by Martine in the previous episode. Just wanted to give you a heads up. So, and Jonah just says that these telescope whatever-whats were something that Aaron Graves would just look at, enjoy the beauty of this so-called art. By the way, this art comes up later. And what Tony and Ziva notice, again, this comes up later, is that there are no security cameras in the backyard, in the garden. And there's this weird chair that Aaron Graves would sit in when he was looking at this art. And that chair was called the Meditation Throne. Again, the Meditation Throne comes back later on. This part is important. So Ruben, by the way, I'm sorry, Ruben is the most pointless character in this whole show. He does absolutely fucking nothing. I feel like I really own. This is like the only time I will mention Ruben, because he does not do jack shit in the show. It's funny they introduced him, but they don't do anything with him. I feel like he was very underused in the show. I think they could have done more with him. Maybe explain more about his grandparents in Bogota, like they explained last episode. But no, they don't do shit with him. So, oh well. Ruben looks through Dayon Lazar's laptop that Martine had given Jonah in the previous episode. Because remember, Martine told Jonah that Dayon Lazar had put so many codes and combinations and what have you into the computer that could or couldn't be the combination to get into the vault that leads to the server room in the compound. And they're still not finding it. Back at the compound, Jonah then gives a few iPads to Tony and Ziva that has video footage of the stuff that Jonah is framing Tony and Ziva for, such as malware attacks, robberies, murder, like literally everything that and anything that happened throughout the entirety of this season. He is just pure, straight framing Tony and Ziva for everything. Even though we know that Jonah did all this shit. So, there's that. And he said that, he threatens that, pretty much saying, I have no choice but to send you to the local authorities. Because you are still fugitives, you are wanted from Interpol, and you must be stopped. Even though I did all these crimes. So, there's that. So Claudette and Boris, so after that, Claudette and Boris find a secret room, like in, I guess is somewhere next to Graves's compound. I don't know, but it's some sort of secret room in the island that Dayon Lazar would work at to do his techno stuff and all his hacking, you know. So Dayon Lazar then Boris then FaceTimes Dayon. And Dayon tells both Boris and Claudette about the flaw that he had found in 9.4. So remember, he said that there is a flaw that they could manipulate. The flaw is, while 9.4 deploys perfectly, it learns as it, and although it learns as it goes, like, yes, it does do that. 9.4 deploys perfectly, it learns as it goes. I'm sorry about the background noise, but because that invasion requires so much computing power, its defenses against being invaded are at best rudimentary. That's the flaws. That's the flaw. So they think if they can try to get it into... So what they want to do is that they want to access it into Aaron Graves' server room. And hopefully they can end all this. Tony and Ziva. So, okay, back at the compound. Tony and Ziva find out that... Because at this point, Jonah has both Tony and Ziva in the chairs. Not chairs, but like they're stuck at the compound until Jonah can get authorities. And while at this point, they're still trying to figure out the combination. And Ziva finds out that there are two different ways of getting out. One through the backyard, through the garden with all the telescope thingamajiggers, or the one that leads to the tunnels. But they need to figure out a way out first, such as how the hell do they get the fuck out without Jonah or Ruben noticing? Like, I mean, that's the second time I mentioned him, but still. So, hold on. And then, So as Ziva is going through the footage that Jonah is framing her for, and as she's watching the security camera from the lighthouse, because Jonah still has the security camera from the lighthouse where Tali's in, where she's kidnapped and captured at. As Ziva is watching that security camera, and as she's watching on the iPad all the footage that Jonah is framing her for, she gets pissed and just wants to grab a gun. She feels as though she wants to just grab a gun and start shooting everybody. Tony assures her, though, that after all this is done, after they clear the names, after everything is done, they will still be with Tali again, and they will be what they wanted to be. A perfect... not perfect, because they still have issues, but a family that was sick with each other, not having to worry about going on the run. And Ziva just tells Tony, saying that, then again, that is a plan, and we all know plans do change. And Tony's just like, yeah, I know. So, so Martine and Sophie go to the lighthouse, where at the lighthouse there is only one security guard in front of the door. Which I'm like, Jonah, really? You know they're gonna try and, like, okay, I know there's guards inside the lighthouse too, but like, come on, Jonah. One guard. If I was Jonah, I would hire like 5 guards to be in front of the door. That's a fucking joke, but whatever. Okay. So there's one security guard, and Sophie makes a plan, and that is for Martine to deal with the guard and make sure that Martine can loop the security camera that of the security camera in the room where Tali's at. So that way, Jonah thinks that Tali is still there. And then Sophie can save Tali. That's the plan that all of them have. So as they do the plan, Martine goes up to the lighthouse and tells the guard that Jonah had scheduled her to fix the cameras as they were being sabotaged. So, she's like, Jonah told me that your cameras were being sabotaged. And the guard's like, what? And Martine's like, you really didn't think your cameras were being sabotaged? Let me fix them. So the guard was like, okay, whatever. So the guard just walks in, lets her go into the lighthouse. And while there, Martine just looks at the camera feed and she's like, okay. Boom! She just beats the guard. She's like, okay. Boom! Just elbows him. And then, I will say this. I love that Martine is now, I guess now, would you classify her as a hero now? Would you? Because I know she's technically a villain for the first portion of the season, but now I feel like she's on the level as being a good person now. On the level as being a hero now, instead of a villain. But I'll just say she's a hero now. Now that she's a hero, I really am loving Martine. I love Martine. And there's even a one point, line delivery that I'm gonna talk about soon that I just thought was funny. And I'm gonna bring that up real quick. So, but yeah, so they all, so, yeah, okay, so, I guess I'm bringing that up right now. Okay, wow. So, yeah, so she beats the guards, unconscious, and then she loops the cameras, and then Sophie saves Tali, and then as they leave the Lighthouse, one of the guards comes running in, and Martine just grabs a gun and shoots him. And Sophie is trying not to let Tali see that. And Martine's like, "Hello, Tali." And then Tali's like, "Is that guy dead?" And Sophie just goes, "No, that was, And then she just looks at Martine, and as she finishes the sentence, "Sleeping dart." Mm-hmm. Sleeping dart? And Martine's like, "Right, yep, sleeping dart." And then Tali goes, because Sophie is covering, Tali's eyes, Tali goes, "Well, why is it I can't see?" And Martine is so blunt, I absolutely fucking love it. She just goes, "Because there's blood everywhere." And Sophie's just like, just like, Sophie gets so angry, like, "You did not fucking say that." I'm trying not to love her. And especially, I love Nassima Benchicou's, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I love her, line delivery. Like, she's just being so fucking blunt and honest. Like, because there's blood everywhere. It's just like, but it's the truth. Like, I love Nassima's line delivery there. I had to literally re-watch that clip. I'm like, wow. Martine is blunt, and I fucking love it. I hope if they do a season 2, it's not been confirmed, I hope if they do a season 2, Martine comes back, because I am loving her, and I loved her in this finale. She was so funny in this finale. So Jonah and Ruben. Third time I keep mentioning Ruben. I guess I am mentioning Ruben a lot more, but still, not as much as you will see. They try figuring out the passcode, and their best guess is 241993. I can't remember if that was because that was the day Aaron Graves was diagnosed with dyslexia, or if it was because that was the day of the attack on the Balkans. But it was either one of them. I can't remember. So that's what he thinks it is. So he tells one of the people, saying, "Hey, try this code." And it's like one of the people that works for him. One of the people that works for Aaron. Sorry. And he's like, "I don't know." And Jonah's like, "Try it. I have a gun." And the guy's like, "Okay, I guess I'll try it." 241993. Turn. The guy gets electrocuted. So there's that. And then at that point, Martine calls Jonah. But all Jonah gets is bloop, 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 bloop. You know, that sound, that signal that means Tali's safe. So now Tony and Ziva know that she's safe. And they beat up some of the guards as Jonah walks away. So Tony and Ziva beats up some of the guards. And especially how Ziva did it, too. Ziva just went up to the guards. Mind you, the guard did not say anything. The guard just kept quiet. And Ziva just goes, "What do you say to me?" Slap! I'm like, that is such a Ziva move. I kind of love it. So she just goes, "What do you say to me?" Slap! So they go through the tunnels. And they beat up the guards. And at that point, Jonah comes back into the cave and realizes that the security camera has been looped. And that Tali's gone. And he calls one of his guards, and the guard says, some lady was here. She was French, and she said that she worked for you. Jonas instantly suspects Martine, because that's really the only person that would be the best to suspect. So what does he do? As Tony and Ziva escape, Jonah gets the CCTV scanners back up and running as they were offline before, and as he adds Tony and Ziva as threats, he also adds Martine as a threat. So now the CCTV drones he very much orders the CCTV drones to pretty much act as though Martine is a fugitive. So that's his way of getting revenge. So after that, Sophie, Martine, and Tali go to where Boris and Claudette are. So they go to like that little secret room that they were at when Boris was trying to, was next to the computers figuring stuff out with 9.4. But what do you know? Drones have followed Martine, Sophie, and Tali. And Boris and Tali find a way out, but they do capture Claudette, Sophie, and Martine. I almost said Tali for a second. So Boris and Tali go to the tunnels, and Tali, because if you remember from the episode We've Got Company, Tali's main instinct, because of that little Ohana speech that Tony had given her from like 2020, her instinct is to never leave anyone behind. So Tali wants to go back to the compound and rescue everybody, even though Boris just wants to stick to Tony and Ziva's wishes and save her, and make sure Tali is safe. But either way, Tali just goes, well, I'm going to the compound, and if you're coming, by all means, come with me. If you want to try and stop me, whatever. And she's like, I'm going no matter what. So Boris is like, God damn it, your mother's gonna kill me. With her Mossad assassin training, she's gonna brutally murder me. So, after that, Tony and Ziva leave the compound. Ziva comes up with a plan. And that is to kill Jonah. At this point, in her mind, killing Jonah is the only way that they can get out of the situation. Once they kill Jonah, then they can sort of clear their names, and they can just not have to deal with any of this bullshit. But Tony does not think that's the best solution. He thinks if they kill Tali, not Tali, that would be interesting. They kill their own daughter. Tony thinks if they kill Jonah, it's just going to make matters worse. And he was like, well, what do you want? You want us to be on the run with our daughter? Do you want us to be fugitives all our life? I don't think so. Ziva has a huge insight, and especially with her past, too. Ziva's, and I hate that I keep mentioning this every episode of this season, but it really does come into play, because Ziva has always had that kill or be killed position in her head, because she's been hunted, and she does not like being hunted. And especially with the whole Sahar thing, she just, yeah. So, like, for her, she just wants to be safe. She wants to be home. She hates the fact that she's being hunted again. And for her, killing Jonah, she thinks that'll solve everything. And then, as they bicker, they go back to the garden in the backyard, where the telescope thingamajiggers are. And they realize that the telescope things are actually a code. There's some sort of number code thing going on. The telescope poles, or whatever the hell they're called. And they realize a pattern. 4, 3, 6, 5, 2, 4. And that throne, the meditation throne, where Graves would sit, he would sit in that throne, look at the code, and because there's no security cameras, he would just look. He didn't even need to write the code down. He would just look at the telescope pole things with their symbols and whatnot. And that's how Aaron Graves would know the code. So think of an idea to go to the compound and tell Jonah about the code. And they come up with an idea to fool him and say that they're going to give the code, but they will not confess to any of the crimes unless Tali and Sophie are safe in a different country with new identities. And we all know that all of this is a bunch of motherfucking lies. So, yeah. We all know this is lies. They're just, yeah. So, Martine, and what do you know? All the guards go to the compound, and they bring Martine, Sophie, and Claudette up. And Tony and Ziva try the code to see if it opens. And what do you know? It opens. Jonah then tells Tony, Ziva, Sophie, Claudette, and Martine about most of his plan, saying that he wanted to destroy Raining Fire, which is kind of already done, and he wanted to collect every arsenal with every other weapons maker, so that way he can destabilize global military power. Martine tells him he's literally trying to be another version of Graves, the man he wanted so badly to be dead. And she tells him, if you're going to keep this up, you're going to make people want to kill you, and they'll be the next you. And it'll happen over and over and over again. Doing that is just going to make things worse. What do you know? Jonah does not give a shit. So, Boris and Tali are then spotted by the security cameras, and Jonah tells his men to have them be brought up to the compound. Jonah then the guards are pretty much rushing over to try and capture Tali and Boris. Then, the biggest fucking twist, the fucking part of this happens when Jonah puts 9.4 inside the server. And we find out how Martine and Dayan both used 9.4's flaw and advantage. They hacked into the CCTV scanners, and they instantly fixed it. They marked Tony and Ziva no longer as fugitives. They marked Martine no longer a fugitive, as they kind of thought Martine, as they kind of already knew Martine would be one after that call, after Martine saved Tali. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry, there's a call I had to do. That's why you see a jump cut. So, after Martine saved Tali. So, Martine and Dayan tricked the system. and they made Jonah a fugitive. Boom shakalaka aka ah! I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So now, the drones are coming toward Jonah. And the drones were tasked with one mission. And that is to bring Jonah to the authorities alive. And if he resists in any kind of way, kill him. Kill his ass. So, because of that, Jonah quickly dashes out of the place, and he goes into one of Aaron Graves' yellow Jeeps to try and get the fuck away. And because of that, and what do you know? Tali is hiding inside a trunk of a yellow Jeep. And what do you know? It's the same fucking yellow Jeep that Jonah is in! So there's that. So she hides inside the same yellow Jeep that Jonah's in. So that means Tony and Ziva have to go into another yellow Jeep that's also at the compound. I don't know how many fucking yellow Jeeps Aaron Graves had, but I don't care. It's kind of a fantasy land. They can do any shit they want to in the show. I don't know what I just said. Because there are some reality in this. But anyways, So Tony and Ziva tell Boris, who was hiding, to get 9.4 out of the server input. Because drones are still technically following Jonah. So they're following the yellow Jeep that Jonah's in, which Tali's in the trunk of the car. And Tali just says, get 9.4 out of the server so that we can disable the drones. So that otherwise Tali is collateral damage. So Boris goes upstairs, tries to get 9.4 out of the server. But of course, we get a kick-ass fight sequence. Hold on a fucking second. Hey man, I can't believe I have to do another jump cut. Fucking Anyways, so, yes, hold on. Why am I not? I can't believe. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, my notes acted up on me. Now I have to fix it. Here we go. Okay, so we got a kick-ass fight sequence with Claudette, Boris, and Sophie, and the guards. So after that, because, fuck, my brain is fried. My brain is fat. Okay, my camera acted up. My brain is fried. So, Tali is in the trunk of Jonah's car. So, Ziva and Tony, because Ziva is driving another yellow Jeep. I don't know how many cars, how many yellow Jeeps that Aaron Graves has, but who cares? NCIS universe can do whatever the fuck they want. So Ziva's driving another yellow Jeep that Aaron Graves has. Tony is standing on top of one, on the one that Ziva's driving, and Tali's in the trunk of the one that Jonah's in. So mind you, Ziva is right behind Jonah. So Tony grabs Tali. Tony and Tali fucks me up. Tony and Tali, both of them. So Tony grabs Tali and gets them to safety. Jonah and Ziva drive out of the tunnels, and Jonah just stops. Then Tali kicks Jonah in the face repeatedly, over and over, and just goes, stop messing with my family. And Tony just grabs Tali and she's like, okay. I think he gets it. So yeah. And then after that, After the guards are taken care of, Boris, Claudette, and Sophie, all of them think that destroying 9.4 is the best way out of this. Destroying 9.4 is the resolution to end all of this, to end everything. So Boris does what he does. Gets the 9.4 chip, puts it on the floor, and crushes it with his foot. And then Martine finally arrests Jonah. Back at Paris. Now we get a whole onslaught of happy endings. Back at Paris, Archie is now assigned as Tali's new therapist. Archie, by the way, is Dr. Lang's boyfriend. If you don't remember Dr. Lang, he is brain no worky, Ziva's therapist. So Ziva's therapist boyfriend is now Tali's new therapist. Because remember, Archie is a child psychologist. So, and Tali talks to Archie about everything that's been going on. And Archie goes to Ziva. And he goes, Tali is very resilient. Especially after everything they've had to endure in the past 2 months. And he goes, I wonder I wonder where she gets that from. And Tali's like, I wonder. Ziva goes, I wonder. And even though Ziva knows deep down, she gets that from her parents. Back at Lyon, because if you remember, Martine is an Interpol agent. At first we thought Martine was a corrupt Interpol officer, but it turned out that she was actually just undercover, as working with Jonah. She has now officially cleared Dayon Lazar of all of his past crimes with Aaron Graves. And she even lets Dayon Lazar reunite with his son. His son, who he thought had resented him and hated him for all this time. After that, Martine gets a call from Redon Chaudon, a security guard at the Lyon police, or Lyon jail, or the jail that's in Lyon, France. Sorry. And we get news that Jonah is dead. And it turns out that Jonah supposedly had hung himself. Because there's a cell and there's a bed sheet that looks like a nylon rope. And it looks as though he hung himself. And she goes, Martine says, you do realize Jonah was a high-risk person. Why was there no cameras? Did you check the cameras? And Redon says, the cameras went off for a little bit. And then she goes, why did you give him bed sheets? And Redon, before he even mentioned bed sheets, he goes, how did you know that he had bed sheets? And then Martine goes, goodbye, Redon. Indicating that Martine killed Jonah and made it and covered it up as a suicide. So there's that. Now back at home. Back in good old Paris, France. Back at home. Tony and Ziva, their names are officially cleared, and now they can go back to their jobs without being fugitives. And Sophie and Claudette are now moving in together. Boris even goes to... But here's the thing. Here's a little sad ending for Boris. Boris goes to Tony's job. He tells Tony that Frugi left him, and that she has even taken all of his money. And the worst part of all is that her name isn't even Frugi. She's not even Hungarian. He doesn't even know who the hell she is. Which then leads to the next thing. Technically, Boris isn't even married to her. Tony wants to make all this up. So he tells Boris that he has a job offer at the security company where Tony works. And Boris agreeably accepts it. Then we cut to the next scene. Tony, Ziva, and Tali are all at home. And they talk to her. And they tell her saying that they want to start dating again. But they want to run it by Tali to see if she's okay with that. And Tali goes, and Tali just says that she's fine with it. As long as Tony and Ziva don't rush things and go to another marriage and not rush things and get proposed and break out of that wedding like they did. She doesn't want her parents to rush things. They want to meet. She knows that they want to make each other happy, and she knows that they want to make Tali happy. But she's like, as long as I have my family, as long as I have my mom and my dad, I'm fine. I don't care if you start dating. By all means, start dating again. As long as I have you two, then I'm happy. Which is good news for them. After that, Ziva then gives Tony a gift. She gives him a picture that had Henry and Tali when Tali was younger. Ziva knows that Henry was like a brother to Tony. And he liked him as a friend, and he cared for him. And Ziva wishes that she had the ability to trust Henry. Well, not trust, but like, she wishes she had the ability to actually become friends with him. And she's angry at herself for not doing so. But she knows that she has to focus on the next thing. And that's to move on. So she gives him the photo. And she even says you can even put it in the house, in the living room, to remember him by. So he does that. And then the series then ends with a montage of clips. Right when they first started meeting each other, back in season 3 of NCIS, to this series. Tony and Ziva has been through it all. Thick and thin. Spick and span. They've been through a lot together. And they just love each other to death. No matter the good times, no matter the bad times. They just want to be together and make each other happy. Especially for Tali. And that's all they want to do. Tony and Ziva, Season 1, Episode 10, Full Circle. Forgot to say that, what episode this was called. The episode is called Full Circle. Yeah. So I don't want to say too much because I am going to do my first time binge video for overall on this season. But I do think if this show does get a season 2, I'm still going to be happy. But even if it doesn't, hey, Tony and Ziva had a kick-ass, strong, good miniseries. And that's all I can ask for. So now, let us do our final ZIVA-ism in the review. Shall we? During the funeral of Jenny Shepard's friend, Ziva asks Tony, "Is that why you're here? So you can Google the girls?" "Ogle," Tony responds. "And no, we're here for Director Shepard. We're trying to keep her sanity here." Or sanity check here. For my last toast until I do the first time binge video, especially for Tony and Ziva. L'amour est puissant. See ya.